It's been a knockout week at Generations Barbershop. Lessons, learnings, wisdom and insight. Let's get into it. First off, have you ever heard the saying, follow your passion and the money will follow? This is not necessarily about the money, but we will come on to that in a minute. There's a friend of mine that sat in that very seat over there only a few years ago, and he expressed to me what his vision for the future was. It was his own unit and his own house. Not only that, but he wanted to send his daughter to private school and create a foundation of wealth unlike that of his own humble beginnings. Now here's where the passion comes in. My friend's passion was in cars, as what some might say, washing cars, only he saw it completely differently. It wasn't washing a car, it was detailing a car. Seeing something beyond that the average person would see, therefore creating a value beyond that was typically found on the high street. So as you can imagine, when my friend set out washing cars, people thought of him just as a valeter, whereas his passion was way beyond that. Now I won't bore you with the detail, no pun intended there, because I'm not a detailer, I'm not able to talk you through that. But what I am able to do is talk you through the principles of having a vision, a direction and destination for your life, and ultimately putting energy, effort and resources into that in order to bring it to fruition. Because this is exactly what he has done. And I am personally proud to say that I've witnessed part of that journey and I'm able to take it as inspiration not only for myself, but to share it with you guys. So let's go back some 10 years. 10 years ago, Mr. X set out being a valeter, a car washer, or as he knew it, a detailer in the making. He was willing to serve his time and arguably do his apprenticeship washing and valeting cars so that he could learn the foundational steps upon which he would build. And the reason why that's important is how many of us want to be the creme de la creme, the pinnacle, the top, that we want to be at the summit of the mountain. However, a lot of the time we overlook the steps on which it takes to get there. Now I'll come back to Mr. X in a minute because this actually reminds me of another encounter and another conversation we had in the shop this week. And this was around another friend of mine that was taking an apprentice under his wings in a car dealership. Now Mr. Apprentice, he wants to be a millionaire. Now I'm not knocking that. Personally, I would want some purpose beyond that. However, that was his goal, that was his dream. And he would come into the car dealership. Now remember, this is the apprentice, not Mr. X. The apprentice says, I want to be a millionaire. Every day he walks into the garage and he's got, dare I say it, this chip on his shoulder where it's like, look, I'm going to be this millionaire in future and that is my God-ordained right. But here's the thing, Mr. Apprentice just got laid off last week, and for one good reason. He wasn't doing the work. He was not willing to put in the work. Now, I know the old saying is that success is 80% showing up, but therein lies the problem. If you are not willing to work, how would you get the result? So Mr. Apprentice is now laid off because at the end of the day, when it came to serving his clients and he'd see that it was 5 o'clock, he would just go home, whether he was partway through a sale or a transaction or not. But it was in those moments that he expressed his true character, or should I say, a lack of character. Because how can you expect people to buy into you when you are not willing to push yourself? And an analogy for that is perhaps the one shared by Chris Rock, where he says, if your car breaks down and you pull over at the side of the road, you can literally lean on the car and put your thumb out hoping somebody will pull over and help. Or perhaps you could wind down your window and start to push the car yourself. Which scenario is most likely to gain help from passers-by? Now I think we all know the answer to that one. So with that said, if you're not willing to push the car yourself, how can you expect anybody else to? And equally, if you're not willing to put in the work, how do you expect to get the result? As we say with everything, there is a lesson and seed of prosperity within every situation. So hopefully, Mr. Apprentice will find the lesson within this and soon find himself on the journey of prosperity. Now back to Mr. X, the valeter. Passion, purpose and intent, sprinkled with consistency, has had him go from 10 years ago working out the back of a small van to scaling up to a larger van to now securing his own unit and buying the house of his dreams. And along with that, no doubt being able to send his daughter to private school and give her a foundation to which he never had. Passion, purpose, intention and consistency. Find something that you're passionate about, something that you could always speak about. No matter if you felt ill or under the weather, you could find the energy to do that. You could find the energy to turn up. Purpose. Find a reason that is bigger than yourself to leverage you in the tough times. Intention. Be intentional about what it is that you set out to achieve. Have a clear vision of that, so much so that you can touch it, taste it, and even smell it. And consistency. No matter what, be patient and be consistent. To get to the top of the mountain doesn't happen overnight. Some of you may have heard the old Chinese bamboo tree and how it takes 10 years in order to shoot. How many of us would be willing to plant a seed of future prosperity and turn up for 10 years straight and water that mud on a daily basis? Because that's consistency. Consistency in showing up over a given period of time, no matter the immediate outcome, because we forego that more immediate gratification for that more prosperous fruit down the line. And unfortunately, there will be those people, those naysayers, those little Miss Negative, those little Mr. Negative that will be standing on the sidelines, and when you get your dream, and imagine it to be a balloon, and you let that balloon go into the air, they will be there waiting with their machine guns, ready to shoot it out of the sky. But when Mr. X said publicly that I will not only set up my own business, I will scale it, I will change my family's life and future generations. Along with that, he put on his coat of armour. And that armour meant every time somebody said, "Oh, you're just a valeter," or "he just cleans cars," that would just deflect and bounce right off him. And we can do the same. And with that said, if you like this content, you can check out more right there. Keep living your truth, and I'm gonna see you real soon.